All Your Pain Has a Purpose by Earl Nightingale. Lesson 1. The Worthiness of Your Struggle. Have you ever watched a butterfly's struggle to emerge from its chrysalis? If you were to help it by cutting open that protective shell, you'd actually condemn the butterfly to death. That struggle, that painful, difficult process, is precisely what forces fluid into its wings, giving it the strength to fly. My friends, your pain serves the same purpose. I've studied the lives of history's most remarkable men and women for decades, and I've discovered a truth so consistent it cannot be ignored. Greatness is forged in the furnace of difficulty. Consider Abraham Lincoln, who failed in business twice, suffered a nervous breakdown, and lost 8 elections before becoming one of our greatest presidents. Or Helen Keller, who transformed the insurmountable challenges of being deaf and blind into a life that inspired millions. What you're enduring right now, that burden that feels so heavy, is not a punishment. It's preparation. Picture a diamond. Before it dazzles on display, it must endure crushing pressure and darkness. The very force that seems so unbearable is precisely what transforms ordinary carbon into something of extraordinary value. Your struggles are the pressure creating something precious within you that simply cannot be formed any other way. The comfortable life, while appealing, is the enemy of your potential. Rivers don't create canyons by flowing over flat land. The resistance they encounter carves magnificence. The most breathtaking landscapes on Earth are formed by earthquakes, volcanoes, and glaciers, forces of tremendous pressure and change. When you face difficulty, try these 5 perspective shifts. First, ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? Second, recognize that your capacity to handle challenges expands with each test. Third, understand that difficult periods are temporary, but the strength they build is permanent. Fourth, know that your struggle qualifies you to help others facing similar trials. Fifth, believe that your current pain is developing precisely the qualities you'll need for your future purpose. There exists what I call the gratitude paradox, the ability to be thankful for the difficulty before seeing its benefits. This is not mere positive thinking. It's spiritual wisdom that recognizes divine purpose in your pain. The farmer doesn't curse the plow that breaks the soil. He knows this necessary disruption prepares the ground for planting. Your present difficulties are tilling the soil of your future harvest. When Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers and sold into slavery, he couldn't possibly see how this betrayal would position him to save nations from famine. Yet years later he told those same brothers, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." My friends, what you're going through matters. Every tear, every disappointment, every moment of uncertainty is serving a purpose greater than your present understanding. The worthiness of your struggle will be revealed in time. And one day, perhaps sooner than you think, you will look back and thank God for the very pain you now wish would end. Lesson 2. Law of Cause and Effect. Have you ever wondered why so many people live lives of quiet desperation? Looking around, we see men and women who seem to sleepwalk through life, never quite reaching their potential, always waiting for something to change. They're like ships without rudders, drifting aimlessly on the sea of life. I want to share with you what I call the strangest secret. It's strange because it's right in front of us. It's a secret because so few truly understand it. The secret can be summarized in just 6 words. We become what we think about. This simple truth has transformed countless lives throughout history. Think about a farmer who plants corn. He expects corn to grow, not wheat or tomatoes. The human mind works the same way. It's fertile soil that doesn't judge the seeds we plant. It simply returns what we sow. Your thoughts are powerful seeds. If you fill your mind with thoughts of success, courage, and determination, those seeds grow into circumstances that match. If you constantly think about fear, limitation, and doubt, those thoughts produce their own kind of harvest. This is the law of cause and effect at work in your life. Your outer world is a perfect reflection of your inner thinking. Nothing happens by accident. The job you have, the relationships you experience, even the pain you feel, all mirror what's happening in your mind. Try this simple exercise today. Take inventory of your thoughts. For just one day, notice what you think about most. Are your thoughts mostly positive or negative? Do you expect good things or bad things? Do you expect good things or bad things? This awareness alone can be eye-opening. Now let's talk about pain. Nobody enjoys suffering, yet it serves as life's most effective teacher. The painful experiences you're facing right now, the disappointment, the setback, the heartache, they're not random, cruel jokes of fate. They have purpose. When a caterpillar enters its chrysalis, it undergoes a painful transformation. Its body literally dissolves before rebuilding into something new. If the caterpillar could think, it might believe it was dying, yet this painful process is essential for it to become a butterfly. Your pain has a similar purpose. It's reshaping you, teaching you, preparing you for something greater. The struggles you face today are developing strength, wisdom, and character you'll need tomorrow. Remember, the greatest achievements often follow the deepest difficulties. Abraham Lincoln endured depression and repeated failures before becoming one of history's greatest presidents. Helen Keller's blindness and deafness became the foundation for inspiring millions. Your mind interprets everything that happens to you. You can view pain as pointless suffering or as purposeful preparation. The choice is yours, but that choice determines what grows from your experiences. Begin today by planting better thought seeds. When pain comes, and it will, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How is this preparing me? Then listen carefully for the answer. In time, you'll look back and thank God for the very experiences that seemed most difficult. The strangest secret is working in your life right now. Make sure you're using it to your advantage. Lesson 3. The Harvest of Thought. Have you ever noticed how a farmer tends carefully to his fields? He doesn't just throw seeds randomly upon the ground and hope for the best. No, the successful farmer selects the finest seeds, prepares the soil with care, plants at the right time, and then watches vigilantly for weeds that might choke his coming harvest. Your mind works in exactly the same way. It is the most fertile ground you possess, capable of producing a harvest beyond your wildest dreams or your worst nightmares. The choice is entirely yours. The thoughts you plant today become the reality you live tomorrow. This is not mystical thinking, but practical truth. Your dominant thoughts are constantly being translated into physical reality through your actions, your words, and even the opportunities you recognize or miss. What kind of seeds are you planting in that magnificent mind of yours? Are they seeds of possibility, growth, and achievement? Or have you been carelessly allowing seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation to take root? Let me suggest a simple experiment that has transformed thousands of lives. For the next 30 days, consciously select the thoughts you will allow to grow in your mental garden. When you wake each morning, plant thoughts of gratitude, expectancy, and purpose. Throughout your day, be a vigilant gardener. Pull the weeds of negativity the moment they appear. You see, most people never realize they have complete control over what they think about. They believe their thoughts are simply responses to what happens around them. Nothing could be further from the truth. While you cannot always control circumstances, you maintain absolute dominion over how you think about those circumstances. Remember this, your mind cannot hold two opposing thoughts at the same time. When pain arrives, and it will, you can choose to see it as punishment or preparation. The choice makes all the difference. Now, don't expect overnight miracles. Just as the farmer doesn't plant corn on Monday and expect a harvest on Tuesday, your thought harvest requires time. There will be a growing season. There will be days when nothing seems to be happening beneath the soil. But rest assured, those carefully planted thoughts are taking root, strengthening, and preparing to break through. During this growing season, expectancy becomes your greatest ally. Expect good things. Expect growth. Expect that your difficulties are serving a greater purpose. When you expect positive outcomes, you remain alert to opportunities that pessimistic people never notice. The mental weeding process may be the most challenging part of your 30-day experiment. We've all developed thought patterns over years that run automatically. Uproot these negative patterns by immediately replacing them with their positive counterparts. Where there was worry, plant confidence. Where there was resentment, plant forgiveness. Where there was fear, plant faith. Your pain today is preparing the soil for tomorrow's harvest. Every challenge you face is loosening the ground, making it more receptive to the seeds of opportunity you plant. Without the plow of difficulty, the soil of your life might remain too hard for new growth. What harvest will you reap 6 months from now? Look no further than the thoughts you're planting today. Choose them wisely, tend them carefully, and prepare for a yield beyond imagination. Lesson 4. Attitude, your greatest possession. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about the most valuable asset you'll ever possess. It isn't found in your bank account. It isn't found in your bank account. It can't be locked away in a safe. Yet it determines the quality of your life more powerfully than anything else. I'm speaking about your attitude. Your attitude is the lens through which you view everything in your world. A man with a positive attitude looking at a difficult situation sees opportunity where others see only disaster. A woman with a determined attitude faces rejection and thinks, "Good, now I'm one step closer to success." This isn't wishful thinking, friends. This is the practical reality of how our minds shape our experiences. Consider two farmers facing the same rainstorm. One curses the mud and complains about the delay. The other gives thanks for the moisture that will nourish his crops. Same rain. Entirely different experiences. Every day presents you with choice points. A colleague criticizes your work. Your car breaks down. The doctor delivers unwelcome news. At each of these moments, you stand at a crossroads. Will you choose bitterness or better? Will you seek lessons or spread blame? The mathematics of attitude is fascinating. Small shifts create compound results. When you choose gratitude in one small moment, you're more likely to see something else to appreciate shortly after. When you respond with patience to one annoyance, the next challenge seems less imposing. This isn't coincidence. It's the natural accumulation of your mental habits. There exists in human experience something I call the magnetism of positive expectancy. People who anticipate good things naturally attract opportunity. Why? Because they recognize possibilities others miss. They attempt things others won't try. They persist when others surrender. Their expectancy becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Developing this mental discipline doesn't happen overnight. Like any worthwhile achievement, it requires practice. You must train yourself to pause before reacting, to question automatic negative assumptions, to deliberately search for the advantage in disadvantage. Pain will come to all of us. Difficulty is guaranteed, but your attitude determines whether that pain merely hurts you or actually improves you. The same fire that melts butter hardens steel. The difference isn't in the fire, it's in the material. What material have you made of your mind? The wonderful truth is that no circumstance can force you into a permanent attitude. You can rise above any situation through your viewpoint. You can transform tragedy into triumph through perspective. This skill, this choice, gives you a kind of freedom no external force can remove. Your attitude truly is your greatest possession. Guard it carefully, develop it purposefully, share it generously, for when your attitude rises, everything else in your life tends to rise with it, and even in your darkest valleys, the right attitude will show you stars you never noticed before. Friends, choose your attitude with the care you'd give to your most precious investment, because in the end it is. Lesson 5. The Service Principle. I want to talk to you today about a magnificent truth that has transformed countless lives throughout human history. This truth is so powerful, yet so often overlooked in our pursuit of success and happiness. It's what I call the service principle, and understanding it will revolutionize your approach to both success and the pain you experience along life's journey. The greatest achievers in every field share one common characteristic. They have discovered that the surest path to personal success comes through service to others. This seems paradoxical at first glance. We're conditioned to believe that success comes from focusing on our own needs, desires, and ambitions. But the universe operates on different terms. The abundance equation is simple, but profound. Your rewards in life will be in direct proportion to the value you provide. Consider this carefully. When you make service your primary aim, when you focus on solving problems for others, meeting needs, and adding value, the universe responds with abundance. Look at any truly successful person. They've discovered a way to serve others in unique and valuable ways. The founders of great companies didn't merely chase profits. They solved problems that improved lives. The most respected professionals in any field aren't just technically proficient. They deliver exceptional service that transforms their clients' circumstances. Each of us possesses a service signature, a unique combination of talents, experiences, and insights that allows us to help others in ways no one else can. Discovering this signature is one of life's most rewarding quests. What comes naturally to you? What problems do others consistently bring to you? What needs do you recognize that others overlook? The answers reveal your path to meaningful contribution. And here is where your pain finds its purpose. The difficulties you've endured, the challenges you've overcome, the hardships that have shaped you. These aren't random misfortunes. They're preparation, they're training, they're equipping you with precisely what you need to serve others facing similar struggles. The person who has overcome addiction becomes the most effective counselor. The entrepreneur who weathered business failure develops insights to guide others. The individual who's conquered illness gains wisdom to support fellow sufferers. Your pain prepares you for your purpose. This principle must pass what I call the marketplace test. True service creates measurable value that others willingly seek out and compensate. It isn't merely good intentions or feeling helpful. It's delivering results that genuinely improve situations, solve problems, and create opportunities. As you face difficulties today, ask yourself, how might this experience be preparing me to serve others tomorrow? Your greatest pains often become your greatest platforms for impact. The very challenges that once seemed meaningless become meaningful when transformed into service. Remember this, success isn't something you pursue directly. Success is attracted by the person you become while serving others. When you make others' success your focus, your own success follows naturally. This is the service principle, and it transforms not only your results, but also your relationship with the pain you encounter along the way. Lesson 6. The Miracle of Gold. How will you know if you've arrived if you don't know where you're going? Ladies and gentlemen, this is perhaps the most fundamental question we must answer in our journey through life. Goals are the miracle workers of achievement, the North Star that guides us through the darkest nights of our struggles. Every great achievement in human history began as a clear picture in someone's mind. The pyramids of Egypt, the masterpieces of Mozart, the light bulb that illuminates your room. Each started as a goal, a destination clearly defined. And so it must be with your life. When pain enters your experience, it often clouds your vision. You can't see beyond the present difficulty. But what if that pain is merely the resistance necessary to strengthen you for your journey forward? What if, rather than an obstacle, it's the very fuel you need? The miracle of goals works like this. Once you decide with absolute clarity what you want, your mind immediately begins solving the problems necessary to achieve it. It's as though the goal itself activates dormant resources within you. But without this clarity, these resources remain asleep, untapped. Let me share a simple truth that has transformed countless lives. A goal properly set is halfway reached. When you define exactly what you want with specifics, not vague wishes, but clear targets with deadlines, you create a magnetic force that pulls you toward it, even when pain tries to push you off course. Your mind requires direction. Consider how a ship without a destination wastes fuel, drifting aimlessly at sea. Similarly, a life without goals wastes precious energy and talent. Yet when you chart your course with precision, Even the storms of difficulty can be navigated with purpose. The most powerful goals transcend mere comfort. They connect to purposes larger than yourself. When your goal is simply to escape pain, you miss the deeper invitation pain offers, to grow beyond your current limitations into something greater. I've observed that people resist setting clear goals for fear of disappointment. But I put it to you that disappointment comes not from missing ambitious targets, but from settling for too little and achieving it. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, while the pain of regret weighs tons. The technique is disarmingly simple. Take one sheet of paper and write down exactly what you want to accomplish in the next year, 5 years, and lifetime. Be specific. Add deadlines. Review this daily, especially when challenges arise. This one-page plan becomes your compass when the storms of life threaten to disorient you. Your goals must be yours alone, not borrowed from society, family expectations, or fleeting impulses. The most meaningful goals resonate with your deepest values and connect to your unique purpose. Your current pain has meaning when viewed through the lens of your goals. It's preparing you, strengthening you, and teaching you exactly what you need to reach your destination. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "How is this preparing me for where I'm going?" The miracle awaits those with the courage to define their destination with crystal clarity and the persistence to navigate toward it, especially when the winds of adversity blow strongest against them. Lesson 7. Acres of Diamonds. In my many years of observing human behavior, I've noticed something remarkable about the search for meaning in our pain. Most of us are looking in the wrong places. We're like the man in Russell Conwell's famous story who sold his farm to search for diamonds, only to discover later that the farm he'd abandoned contained one of the richest diamond mines in the world. Friends, the treasures you seek are often right beneath your feet, in the very circumstances you're trying to escape. What I call proximity blindness affects us all. We become so accustomed to our immediate surroundings that we fail to see the extraordinary opportunities within them. The job that frustrates you contains lessons that couldn't be learned elsewhere. The relationship that challenges you develops character that couldn't be forged any other way. The financial struggle that keeps you awake at night is teaching you resourcefulness that will serve you for decades to come. Most people believe they must move to a new location, find a new job, or connect with new people to discover opportunity. But what if your current pain is precisely where your diamonds are buried? Consider the principle of mastery before movement. Too often, we want to escape difficult situations before we've mastered the lessons they contain. But those who achieve lasting success do something different. They excel exactly where they are. They dig deeper rather than running elsewhere. They understand that demonstrating excellence in current circumstances qualifies them for better ones. Look around you at what I call the adjacent possible. Those opportunities that exist just beyond the periphery of your current situation, but connected to it. The promotion that seems out of reach. The business idea that builds on your current expertise. The ministry opportunity that uses your hard-won wisdom from suffering. These adjacent possibilities often remain invisible until we fully engage with our present reality. Have you ever conducted a resource inventory of your current situation? Most people focus on what they lack rather than cataloging what they already possess. Your current pain has equipped you with resilience, perspective, empathy, and wisdom that others don't have. These are assets of immeasurable value. The purpose of your present pain may be to prepare you for service that wouldn't be possible without it. The illness that confined you to bed gave you compassion for others who suffer. The financial setback taught you stewardship principles you can share. The rejection sensitized you to others who feel excluded. What appears to be worthless ground today may contain tomorrow's treasure, but you'll only discover it if you're willing to dig where you stand. Don't make the mistake of that restless farmer who sold his birthright searching for diamonds elsewhere while walking away from the very treasure he sought. Your pain has a purpose, my friend, and often that purpose is to reveal the acres of diamonds beneath your feet, if only you'll stop running long enough to look down and start digging. Lesson 8. The Wisdom of Decisiveness. Have you ever stood at a crossroads, paralyzed by the weight of choice? Most of us have. We analyze, we worry, we postpone, hoping that more time will somehow make the path clearer. But time alone rarely brings clarity. What I've discovered in my years of observing successful men and women is this: decisiveness itself is a form of wisdom that transforms pain into purpose. The ability to decide, to cut off other options and move forward with conviction, is perhaps one of the least appreciated skills in our modern world. We've become a society of endless deliberation, what I call the paralysis of analysis. We gather more information, seek more opinions, and delay the moment of choice. And in that delay, opportunity often slips through our fingers like sand. Remember this truth: a decision is not a destination, but a direction. When you decide, you're not cementing your entire future. You're simply taking a step in a particular direction. The beauty of life is that each step reveals new possibilities that weren't visible from where you stood before. The person who refuses to decide actually makes a decision anyway. The decision to remain exactly where they are. Consider the farmer who must decide when to plant his crops. If he waits for perfect conditions, not too wet, not too dry, not too dry, not too cold, not too warm, he may miss the growing season entirely. The wisdom lies not in perfect timing, but in good enough timing coupled with committed action. Your pain often stems from indecision itself, the mental torment of carrying all possibilities simultaneously. There's freedom in choosing a path and walking it with all your heart. Even when that path involves difficulty, the decisiveness with which you face it transforms the very nature of the pain from something that happens to you into something you're actively engaging with purpose. I've found that decisions become clearer when filtered through the right questions. Is this choice aligned with my deepest values? Will it move me toward my most important goals? Have I gathered reasonable information? Am I being ruled by fear or guided by wisdom? Would I recommend this course of action to someone I love? These 5 decision filters can cut through confusion when you find yourself stuck. The most successful people I've known weren't necessarily those who made perfect decisions every time. They were the ones who made decisions promptly, committed to them wholeheartedly, and adjusted as needed along the way. They understood that life rewards motion and purpose, not perfect foresight. Your present pain may well be the result of necessary decisions you've been avoiding. The relationship that needs addressing, the career move that's overdue, the habit that must be confronted. Your decision to act, even imperfectly, often brings the very relief you've been seeking through delay. Remember, indecision is a decision. Choose wisely, but choose. For in decisive action, even through pain, you'll find a purpose that hesitation can never reveal. And one day, looking back, you'll thank God you found the courage to decide. Lesson 9. The Crucible of Character. Good day, my friends. I'd like to talk with you about something of tremendous importance. Perhaps the most valuable asset you'll ever develop in this lifetime. It's not your bank account, your business connections, or even your talents. I'm speaking about your character. Character is forged in the crucible of adversity. Like a blacksmith hammering heated metal, life's challenges shape who we become. The hotter the fire, the stronger the steel. This is the magnificent purpose behind your pain. It is the workshop where your character is being crafted. Consider this profound truth. We rarely develop our finest qualities during comfortable times. Patience isn't learned when everything arrives precisely when we want it. Courage cannot develop without facing fear. Perseverance is meaningless without resistance. The qualities we admire most in others and aspire to in ourselves are almost always the product of difficulty. But here's what separates extraordinary people from the crowd. They recognize this pattern. While most people resist hardship, exceptional men and women understand that character transformation is the hidden gift within every trial. They don't merely endure difficulties. They extract the lessons, absorb the wisdom, and emerge with greater personal substance. I remember speaking with a businessman who lost everything in an economic downturn. "Earl," he told me, "I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. Before losing my company, I was successful but shallow. That failure taught me humility, resilience, and what truly matters in life. 5 years later, he had built a business 10 times more successful than his first venture. But more importantly, he had become a man of depth and wisdom. Your difficulties are not random. They are precisely calibrated to develop the specific character qualities you need for your unique journey. The impatient person faces delays. The arrogant person encounters humbling circumstances. The fearful person repeatedly meets situations requiring courage. There is divine intelligence behind this process. Consider keeping a character journal during challenging periods. Instead of focusing exclusively on escaping your difficulties, ask yourself, what quality is this situation designed to develop in me? Then record your observations as this quality takes shape within you. This simple practice transforms your perspective from victim to student. Remember, too, that character isn't built in dramatic moments of crisis alone. It's developed through thousands of small, daily choices when no one is watching. Integrity is choosing truth when a lie would be more convenient. Self-discipline is continuing when you don't feel like it. Kindness is extending grace when harshness seems justified. My friends, I promise you this. Long after your current difficulties have passed, the character they helped forge will remain, a permanent asset that cannot be stolen, damaged or diminished by circumstances, and someday, perhaps years from now, you'll look back at your most painful seasons with profound gratitude, recognizing that without them, you would never have become the person you were meant to be. Your pain has a purpose, and that purpose is nothing less than the creation of a character worthy of your potential. You will thank God later. Lesson 10. The Power of Persistent Action. Life is a magnificent journey filled with mountains and valleys, sunshine and storms, and through it all there runs a golden thread that distinguishes those who merely dream from those who truly achieve. Persistent action. I've often observed that the average person looks for quick fixes and easy answers. They want success without struggle, victory without battle. But that's not how this wonderful universe operates. No, the law of the harvest is always in effect. We reap what we sow, but only after we've done the work of planting, watering, and tending. Your pain has a purpose, and one of its greatest purposes is to teach you the value of persistence. Consider the mighty oak tree. It doesn't grow to its majestic height overnight. It faces harsh winters, scorching summers, and violent storms. Yet it persists, growing slowly but surely, pushing its roots deeper with each challenge it overcomes. You are no different. The difficulties you face today are strengthening you for tomorrow's victories. But strength without action is potential, never realized. The secret that separates winners from the masses is surprisingly simple. Winners keep going when others quit. Thomas Edison once said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." How profound! Just imagine the countless dreams abandoned when success was just around the corner, the many goals surrendered when one more push would have broken through. Persistent action requires 3 fundamental elements. First, you must have clarity about what you're pursuing. A vague target produces vague results. Second, you must have a burning desire that fuels your efforts when difficulties arise. And third, you must develop the habit of daily action, regardless of how you feel. Remember, feelings follow action, not the other way around. You won't always feel motivated before you begin. Often motivation arrives after you've started moving. As I've said before, the ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. Your life was designed for movement, for progress, for action. When pain enters your path, let it serve as a reminder to redouble your efforts, not as a signal to retreat. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, while the pain of regret weighs tons. Choose your pain wisely. The wonderful thing about persistent action is that it compounds over time. Small, consistent efforts may seem insignificant in the moment, but they accumulate into astonishing results. The person who walks just 1 mile every day will circle the earth in their lifetime. So today, whatever challenge you're facing, whatever pain you're enduring, know this. Your persistent action in the face of difficulty is carving out your path to victory. Don't stop. Don't quit. Don't surrender to temporary discomfort. Years from now, you'll look back on these struggles with gratitude, understanding that they formed the foundation of your success. You'll thank God for the pain that pushed you to persist when others faded away. For it is in the deepest valleys that we develop the strength to climb the highest mountains. Lesson 11. The Greatest Miracle. The greatest miracle in the world isn't found in the parting of seas or the moving of mountains. The greatest miracle is the untapped potential that resides within each human being, and that miracle becomes most apparent when we understand that all our pain has purpose. I've often thought about how the most magnificent steel must pass through the hottest fires. The most brilliant diamonds endure crushing pressure. The most beautiful pearls begin with an irritating grain of sand. In your life, too, the difficulties you face aren't random acts of cruelty from an indifferent universe. They are precisely calibrated instruments of growth. When we look at successful individuals, we often see only their achievements, their moment in the sun. What remains hidden are the countless hours of struggle, the failures, the disappointments, and the pain they endured before their triumph. But it was precisely those difficult seasons that prepared them for greatness. Consider the caterpillar. If you were to help it by cutting open its cocoon, thinking you were being kind, you would actually condemn it to death. It's the very struggle of pushing through the tight opening that forces fluid from the butterfly's body into its wings, giving them the strength to fly. Without that struggle, the butterfly would never soar. Your pain, too, has a purpose just as vital. The rejection that stings today is developing your resilience. The financial strain is teaching you resourcefulness. The heartbreak is deepening your capacity for genuine connection. The failure is showing you what doesn't work, so you can discover what does. Many people pray for easier lives, for less pain, for smoother paths. But wisdom teaches us to pray instead for greater strength, deeper insight, and unwavering courage. For it's not the absence of storms that determines our success, but our ability to navigate through them. I remember speaking with a man who had lost everything in a business venture gone wrong. Earl, he told me years later, that bankruptcy was the best thing that ever happened to me. It stripped away my pride, taught me humility, and showed me what truly matters. I would never have built my current success without first experiencing that complete failure. This is the miracle of purposeful pain. Not that we enjoy suffering. We don't. Not that we seek hardship. We shouldn't. But that we recognize its transformative power when it inevitably arrives. When you face your darkest hour, remember? The night is always darkest just before dawn. Your current pain is not your final destination. It's the necessary passage to a greater expression of yourself. So ask yourself, what is this challenge teaching me? How is this difficulty preparing me? What strength is this pain developing within me? For in answering these questions, you begin to cooperate with the purpose behind your pain. The tapestry of your life is being woven with both dark and golden threads. And one day, when you look back at the complete picture, you'll see that both were necessary to create the masterpiece that is your life. Yes, all your pain has a purpose. And one day, you'll thank God for the strength, wisdom, and character it built within you. Lesson 12. The Harvest of Your Pain. My friends, I'd like to speak with you today about something of tremendous importance, the magnificent harvest that awaits you beyond your pain. As surely as the farmer plants in one season and reaps in another, your suffering today is planting seeds of tomorrow's joy. Have you ever noticed how a difficult experience eventually reveals its purpose? This is no accident. It's a universal law as dependable as gravity itself. The challenges you face today are not random cruelties of an indifferent universe. They are carefully designed instruments of your growth. Consider the butterfly. If you were to help it by cutting open its cocoon, thinking you were being kind, you would actually doom it to death. It's the very struggle of pushing through that tight opening that forces fluid into its wings, giving them the strength to fly. Without the struggle, there can be no flight. Your pain serves exactly the same purpose. It's strengthening muscles you'll need later. It's developing wisdom you couldn't gain any other way. It's preparing you for a purpose that, right now, might be hidden from your view. I remember speaking with a man who had lost his job unexpectedly. For months he struggled with feeling worthless, questioning his abilities, wondering how he would provide for his family. Yet 2 years later, he told me it was the best thing that ever happened to him. It forced him to pursue the business he had always dreamed of starting, but had been too afraid to attempt. I needed to be pushed off the cliff to discover I could fly, he told me. This pattern repeats throughout human history. Helen Keller's blindness and deafness led to inspirational work that changed millions of lives. Lincoln's repeated failures prepared him to lead a nation through its darkest hour. Your difficulties are no different in their potential. There's a magnificent alchemy that happens when we embrace our pain rather than just endure it. When we ask, "What is this teaching me?" rather than "Why is this happening to me?" we transform lead into gold. The very thing that might embitter us becomes the source of our greatest strength. I want you to try something right now. Think of your most difficult current challenge. Now imagine that 5 years from now, you're looking back at this moment with gratitude because this difficulty led to something wonderful you couldn't have anticipated. Feel that perspective shift in your mind and heart. What if every tear you've shed is watering the soil where joy will later grow? What if every rejection is redirecting you to your true path? What if every loss is clearing space for something better? My friends, this isn't wishful thinking. This is the testimony of countless lives across human history. Your pain has a purpose. The seeds of today's suffering contain tomorrow's fruit. And one day, perhaps sooner than you think, you'll look back and thank God for the very things that now bring tears to your eyes. Your harvest is coming, and when it arrives, you'll understand at last why every moment of pain was not just necessary, but precious.